All right, we're here with Mr. Matchroom, MSG. We're not getting him in trouble today, Barack.
This is not a live Eddie Hearn Unleashed.
Do you only get me in trouble over Zoom?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
all right, so face to face, you're nicey.
Well,
right?
yeah, we got
A little bit. Maybe not me. Maybe not me.
I can't help it. Every interview I do, I seem to upset someone.
Prepare yourself today.
You just open up to us. But look, big fight, right? Because of what's ahead. And this is no disrespect to Cruz, but Amanda Katie Taylor is what the world wants to see. Do you think that might add a little pressure on Amanda? Because she has to get past Cruz and become undisputed.
Yeah, I mean, look, behind the scenes, that fight's not done, right? So, obviously, you know, the common sense thing would be to try and get it done. And after Saturday, if she was victorious, you'd kind of try and announce it and maybe hang around next Sunday or Monday for a press conference. But there's that happening behind the scenes. And then there's Amanda trying to focus on Cruz. At the same time, there's Cruz going, hello, you know, I'm a world champion. I'm here to try and become undisputed. And I tell you what, she's going to be bringing everything to this fight. So there's a lot of pressure on Amanda for this fight. One, to look good, one, to become undisputed, and obviously what the victory would bring. And hopefully, subject to her winning, would bring, you know, a rematch of not just fight of the year, but event of the year. You know, I was at the Knicks-Lakers the other night. People were coming up to me saying, I was here for Serrano. That was the best event I've ever seen in this arena. You know, and we need to see number 2.
Absolutely. I want to know from your perspective, though, because I was there when Andy Ruiz, matter of fact, in this room right here afterwards, was I know, the press conference, but he was just the interim fight in our heads. So, because you know what could happen, are you still a little bit on edge?
Yeah, I want Cruz to win. She's my fighter, you know. So it's like, on one hand, you know,
I never heard that from you.
No, but really, like, it would look for where she's come from to this point. It would be an amazing victory for Erika Cruz and Mexican boxing. Of course, we know what might come the other side, but interim fights are so dangerous. You know, that's why I think Amanda pointed out earlier in the week on social media. Look, I'm just focused on this fight. I'm not here to, every interview she seems to be giving, I don't want to talk about Katie Taylor. I just want to talk about this fight. You know, this place always provides drama. You know, I was in the back bay for the basketball game, and I was just remembering walking backstage there with AJ after the defeat, you know, with Katie Taylor after, you know, the joys of victory. There's something very special about this place. It's going to be packed on Saturday night. The atmosphere is going to be unbelievable with Amanda Serrano fans and Puerto Rico taking over the building, but a lot of pressure.
Speaking of packed,
but that same night, Katie Taylor had a tough fight too. I'm surprised like nobody said, oh, there's a curse here.
Against Pursoon was a really tough fight.
No, but I'm saying, speaking of packed, Katie Taylor, speaking of Katie, she'll be in the building.
She'll be here.
We were talking off camera about, would Katie be the type to get into the ring after Amanda wins?
She would if I asked her to. I mean, she's never going to stand up.
Would it look disingenuous?
No, because that's, you know, ultimately the job of promoting a fight. So I would say to Katie, you know, if we got a deal done, are you okay to get in the ring? Yeah, no problem. But she's not going to jump up and
but I'm saying we're not exactly. She's not going to go up and curse her out. She's going to go up and smile.
But you know, some people like, I would never say to a fighter, right? Listen, get in there and you know, give him a shove. No, because Kate. Also, if I said that to Katie Taylor, she'd just hit me straight with a left hook and knock me out. You know, and I've got much more respect for her than that. So she's going to be Katie Taylor,
but
which
still
is
seeing
congratulations.
Yes.
And by the way, when I meet you again, I'm going to do a better job this time. And I don't like what's been said, and I don't like you thinking you won the fight, and I don't like other people. But that's inside Katie Taylor. That's the drive within her.
Maybe
you know, and
I don't even think she'll go that far, but that sounds great.
Just seeing the image of Katie and Amanda in the ring, photo ops going out.
Someone said yesterday, and I should have remembered this, but it would be the first time that 2 reigning undisputed champions have fought each other for, I can't remember how many years ago, but it's decades. Right, so 2 undisputed champions from different weight classes fighting each other. No, I think it's like 1 or 2 times before, you know. And what I'm loving about female boxing is, like, it's so different, so rewarding, where a champion goes, oh, I only want to fight the champions. Right? I only want to be undisputed. Now you've got undisputed being fought for at 126 Saturday. Undisputed being fought for at 130 Saturday. Katie Taylor at 135 undisputed. Chantel Cameron at 140 undisputed. Jessica McCaskill lost the belt, but really has all the belts at 147. Maybe coming in at 154 with Harper against Jonas undisputed. 160 Clarissa Shields undisputed. 168 Frances Cruz DAZN undisputed. That's what we want. We want one champion in every weight class. But we never really get it in men's boxing. But that's one of the things that's so rewarding about female boxing is they just want to fight the champion.
You know what I was thinking the other day? As women start to make more money, will that problem start happening with women's boxing? Do you see what I'm saying?
They are, but they're still they're just different. I mean, what you haven't got is you haven't got the lawyers and the advisors eking their way in, and you will do because they'll smell money eventually, and we are seeing that a little bit now.
Right.
But it still comes down to the individual. I'm seeing more in boxing now, especially in America, people saying, "Do you know what? It's time for me to take control of my own career because actually I've been promised this, and I've only fought once in 1.5 years.
Yes.
And I'm really not taking the most of my career." So you're seeing fighters, I think Gervonta Davis is a good example of that, where he sort of says, okay, I'm going to go my own way, and I'm going to do my own deals, and I've got my advisor, but I'm going to make my own decisions.
Yes.
Because sometimes fighters realise that you're being used really as a pawn in a network battle, right? So I just feel that, the independence of a fighter to be able, and Francis Ngannou is probably another good example, although of the UFC, where he's gone, no, I'm going to come out of this contract. And Canelo Alvarez was really the trailblazer of this, wasn't he?
Yes.
Where he sort of said, I'm actually going to be a free agent. Yeah, Eddie Hearn, I like him. 2 fights with you. Oh, that was good. We'll do another 2 fights. But ultimately, still has the freedom, network freedom, to go, no, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. And I think, you're seeing the female fighters now, they're not really, they drive the money, they want the biggest purses possible, but they genuinely want legacy. And I feel like that's come out of the male side of boxing a little bit, where sometimes fighters are putting money over legacy. And you must get paid the maximum you should, but we want to bring the greatness back to the sport, where it's like, I want to be a true great. And I'm seeing that in female boxing, and it motivates me because it reminds you what sport's all about.
Right, but speaking of smelling money, right, I want to bring up a young lady that you promote, and when I see her on social media, when I see her fight, she's becoming a star, and I'm talking about Alycia Baumgardner.
What does it have to do with smelling money?
Wait, no, because she's starting to look like money, right? So, Eddie, how do you prevent those advisors start popping up and interfering with making the big fights, where we know she wants to make money, but keep
relationships. A lot comes down to the individual.
Right.
There is nothing better when there's trust between me and a fighter, in terms of, and you will have their back at all times. You will make sure you deliver every dollar you can for them. You will make sure, as you're seeing time and time again, you have to understand this industry. This is a maddest industry. Fighters don't get paid for months. Right? They're waiting for money. I haven't been paid yet. We paid a fighter.
Not matchroom fighters, though.
Never. You will never find a fighter that will say, oh, I never got paid for matchroom. Oh, I had to wait weeks.
But you did have a bet with Ak one time. It took him a little while.
It took him like 2 months to give me that 500.
But it's mad that's the world that we live in, right?
Yeah.
And it's not even fair,
that's
competitive-wise, where I've got to pay a fighter the week after the fight, yet someone else can take 4 or 5 months to get the money together to pay
So wait a minute.
Well, I'm going back to Alycia Baumgardner. It's about trust, right? And it's about, she knows that we're her team. Right?
So she's not going to question when you say you're going to get this amount. If somebody in her ear say you deserve more,
we'll always have an argument about money, because she'll want this. I want to pay her this. And ultimately, you get to a stage where she trusts that we will deliver the right opportunities and the right money for her. Alycia Baumgardner is already a star. She went overseas to beat Terry Harper.
Yes.
She beat Mekhaled.
Yes.
Now she becomes undisputed at the weekend. She talks great. She's inspirational. She looks great. She's a brand. And she's a commodity in boxing. But she also, what she cares about is the big fights, right? And the big fights bring money. So if you just understand that, I don't want to make Alycia, if Alycia Baumgardner wins on Saturday night, I don't want to make Alycia Baumgardner in a voluntary defence against someone you've never heard of. I want to see her fight Katie Taylor, or I want to see her fight Chantel Cameron, or I want to see her maybe rematch Mekhaled.
Or maybe Amanda Serrano.
Of course. But she's going to want to take the biggest fights possible for the most amount of money.
Absolutely.
And those two should come hand in hand. So if you're chasing legacy, if you're chasing greatness, that comes with the reward of money.
Yes. Before you get out of here, are we going to get a Canelo AJ announcement right here officially?
Not here. The problem is now, we're about to announce our schedule or slate of fights. I've already told everyone the dates. So when it comes out, AJ is fighting April the 1st. We know the front runner is Jermaine Franklin. You'll get a press conference next week for that fight. Canelo Alvarez. John Ryder's the front runner, the mandatory challenger.
And the date?
May the 6th. Okay. Mexico or America. I'll give you that.
Okay, well, we knew that already, but listen.
Sorry.
Last question, we got to wrap, right? You were alluding to fighters not getting paid. You mentioned that today. You mentioned on our show earlier in the week. A lot of fighters didn't like you. A lot of promoters didn't like you. Now, are they starting to like you because they're realizing that maybe you were kind of legit paying fighters
forget
up front?
promoters. They're never going to like me.
Right.
Fighters, if you speak to our fighters, they'll never have a bad word to say about us. when you talk about fighters that have been warped, right, into thinking that, oh, you can't go near Eddie Hearn.
Right.
He's a bad guy. Yeah. You know, you don't want to go with him. You want to stay with us. He's not going to look out for your best interest. So over the years, fighters just had that, you know, and then I think what's happening now, because I've seen 3 or 4 fighters reach out to me recently, who I know used to dislike me, saying, you know, I was always told that, you know, not to come near you, you know, but actually I spoke to so-and-so and I actually spoke quite well about you. Do you know what I mean? When you get to a point where, you know, my 2 best reference points, or 3 best reference points in boxing that are most relevant with the most credibility, ask Anthony Joshua about Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Yes. Ask Canelo Alvarez again about Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Ask Katie Taylor again.
Canelo said he loves you.
I know, but what I'm saying is fighters get filled with information, but now what we're seeing is fighters have had enough. You know, you fill me with this information, you tell me not to accept that deal that's been offered because I should do this. Well, where is the better deal than that? And why is it taking me 3-6 months to get paid? And why am I only fighting once every 18 months?
Wow. All right, speaking of fighters, lastly, we know you met with Edgar Berlanga. How likely is that Edgar joins the Matchroom team?
Look, I think we're the best place for him. You know, I like Edgar Berlanga. I think he's a star. I think he has a great following. I think he's an exciting fighter. And ultimately, he's a super middleweight. Every aspiring super middleweight wants to get to world level and fight Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez against Edgar Berlanga, Mexico against Puerto Rico, at the right time is a massive fight. And by the right time, I mean he needs to prove his worth. He's a prospect. Yeah, 2 fights, 2 to 3 fights, beating some credible guys, beating some world level opposition.
2024 maybe.
No, I think May 2020. Yeah, it's May 2024. Yeah, I'm forgetting we're in 2023. May 2024 is probably the time where I say if Edgar Berlanga shows that he is a world-class elite fighter, that's a massive fight, right? But that's a carrot to dangle. What we want to do is build him as a headline act, build him as a star, give him the platform, bring the Puerto Rican fan base out, and showcase how good he is. You know, he went on this incredible run, then he got injured, had a couple of points decisions, then everyone says, oh, as they do in boxing, oh, the hype might not be real. This guy turned up yesterday in a mink coat with more ice than I've seen in the local freezer, and this guy, I look at him, I go, star, right? And I speak to Madison Square Garden, I say, tell me about the gate that Edgar Berlanga did. Really good, really strong. You know, good support, you know, in coming off the back of a pandemic, delivering big numbers here. He's exciting, he's got a massive Puerto Rican fan base, he looks the part. I really believe we could do something exciting.
We shall see what happens. Thanks as always, Eddie.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.